America. I'm Erick Erickson. These are the four things you need to know this afternoon, November 17th it is. Senate Commerce Committee, which is led by Ted Cruz as the Republican, Maria Cantwell as the ranking member for the Democrats, they've begun an investigation into gambling corruption within Major League Baseball. This comes after the Guardians pitchers have been indicted. But we also have now seen this gambling allegations within the NBA, and we're sure to see it in other sports as well. This is a larger issue than Major League Baseball, and I certainly hope that the Senate Commerce Committee pushes on that and investigates into it. There are a lot of incentives now for hanky-panky and malfeasance by players who have friends who are making bets, particularly parlays on sports betting apps. The defenders of the sports betting apps say it's the algorithms of the sports betting apps that are exposing this, but it's actually the apps themselves and people's use of the apps and the ability to make a quick buck in this economy that are incentivizing the cheating. We've probably gone too far in legalized sports betting in this country, making it easy and accessible even to minors in this country. It's probably time to roll it back, and I hope the Senate Commerce Committee looks at that angle of this beyond just what's happening within Major League Baseball. Up next, the president is now telling members of Congress to vote to release the Epstein files. This comes as word is out that Epstein was texting a Democratic member of Congress during a Michael Cohen hearing, the delegate from the Virgin Islands, who has long been accused of being too tied to Epstein and possibly covering up allegations against Epstein when she was in the Virgin Islands as a prosecutor. It also turns out that Jeffrey Epstein was a big fan of Hakeem Jeffries and tied to Larry Summers during his time during the Clinton White House and outside the Clinton White House and in the Obama White House and during his tenure in Harvard. Lots of Democratic ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The president saying might as well get it all out there. Lots of rumors that there will be lots of redactions. We'll see how that goes, but looks like Thomas Massie won the fight. David Richardson is out. He was the head of FEMA. He's the third high-profile resignation from the agency. The first guy was gone. His replacement rose through the ranks. She was out. Now David Richardson, who by multiple accounts is overwhelmed by the job responsibilities at FEMA. This comes at a time the president wants to wind down and restructure the agency. We are largely outside of hurricane season now, so if they want to restructure FEMA, now would be the time to do it before we get back into hurricane season. We might have ice storms over the winter, but they tend not to be as bad as what we might see from a hurricane. With Richardson gone, now's the perfect time for FEMA to be restructured if that's the way it's going to go. Lastly, the president is backing primary opponents against Indiana state legislators. That's right, state legislators, not members of Congress. The Indiana legislature has decided they don't want to redistrict. In part, they don't want to redistrict because they're afraid they could draw districts that become more swingy than they should be. If the election doesn't go well for the Republicans next year, if the economy goes further south, you could have big backlash against the Republicans, and safe Republican seats could be swing Democratic seats where a Democrat wins by a percentage point. They don't want to risk that in Indiana. So the Indiana Senate Republicans have decided they don't want to go through redistricting. They also don't want to do it because they don't think it's necessary. They don't think it's advisable to do mid-decade redistricting. The president insists we have to save the House by doing this, and he wants to primary these Indiana legislators. Now, I suspect you might not see the Indiana legislators cave in large part because is the president really going to spread himself that thin? He's going after Thomas Massie. He's going after Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's going to go after these other Republicans. The president is going to have to come to terms with being a lame duck because so much of what we're seeing is actually coming from him being a lame duck. There's more and more defiance, and that defiance is only going to grow unless the president makes some examples of people. It's real hard to make examples of state legislators in Indiana that very few have ever heard of. Is the president actually going to go campaign for state legislators in Indiana? Probably not. Also, he risks pushing people into seats where it might make it opportune for Democrats to take some seats in the state legislature. He's played a very dangerous game here in a temper tantrum. Maybe he should focus his ire on Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are the four things you need to know this afternoon. I am Erick Erickson. Please stay informed, stay engaged, and please keep the faith.